Hello, I'm Casey Aiken, and this is 21 This Week. Coming up next, council to vote on elimination of single-family houses in favor of duplexes and triplexes. Gas leaf blowers ban, it takes effect July 1st. And Westmore's shell game, $400 million in new spending for Friends of West, $121 million in cuts for state workers. Our panel of insiders will give you the story behind the story. We're joined by civic activist Cary Lamari and Stacey Sauter, a member of the Montgomery County Republican Central Committee. Stay tuned for these stories and more on the next 21 This Week. The fable of the Gordian knot is a story from Greek mythology that tells how Alexander the Great solved a seemingly unsolvable problem. And boy, do we need an Alexander the Great right now. For at least 3 decades, the political classes in Montgomery County have been trying to solve the impossible problem of a lack of affordable housing. Cary, the Montgomery County Council is considering zoning text amendment 2502, which would allow duplexes, triplexes, and even small apartment buildings in what has traditionally been single-family zones. Is this a needed step toward housing affordability or a threat to community character and infrastructure?
I would argue that this is the farthest thing from affordable housing that you could possibly do. You know, they are basically trying to put the new housing on our main quarters, and that's a debate. What does that mean? It's about 24 main quarters: Georgia Avenue, Connecticut Avenue, University Boulevard, on and on and on. These are traditionally the home of naturally occurring affordable housing, most affordable housing in the county, and we are uprooting these people, displacing these people, tearing down these properties and building exceptionally large, multiplex housing. And the issues affect your air quality. They affect water imperviousness and flooding. We've just lived through a week of extreme heat island effect. And it goes on and on and on. And today we've got 2 out of 3 members of the council, Housing and Planning Committee, that are going full steam ahead with this housing. And really, and Stacey could actually go into more detail on this, the housing that they want to build, for example, in Chevy Chase and Bethesda, they're going to uproot these $1 million, small homes and build $2 to $3 million, condos in its place. How is that affordable? How is that attainable? How is that workforce? I'm
let's
sorry.
go to Stacey on this, because Stacey, critics claim that the zoning text amendment will incentivize the demolition of naturally affordable housing. And how do we balance increasing supply with preserving existing affordability, but also existing character to the neighborhoods?
Casey, this is a really bad approach to what we have to say. Is it a real housing crunch or is it a policy-induced squeeze? Now, I think I mentioned to you once before that I went to a community meeting where Artie Harris, the chair of the planning board, was there. And I asked him directly in front of the room that, whether or not he thought it was, he thought it was unjust for people to be earning equity on their homes in Montgomery County the way that they are. And he made it abundantly clear, yes, that he resented it. And so this, to me, is more about shuffling the demographic makeup of neighborhoods across the county rather than creating more accessible or affordable housing. And so the last census in Montgomery County between 2010 and 2020 showed an increase of about 110,000 people, and which is a lot for a suburban area that's mostly built up already. What they need to be doing is not going to this extreme, but reducing or bringing back some of the restrictions on housing as it is to make it a little easier to build in certain locations. My concern about this particular issue is that if we allow this to happen, that the tentacles from this will reach farther and farther out into districts that they were not supposed to touch because they can. The other thing that we have to talk about that goes unaddressed a lot of the times is that we are a sanctuary county, and we have a surge in undocumented immigrants here that have pushed up the level for entry-level housing.
All right, Stacey, I appreciate the comment. We're running out of time here because I want to get to Cary on this. Cary, this may be the first time in world history that I've agreed with Mark Elrich because he opposes this bill. Is he going to veto the bill, and is it going to be overridden?
The question is it veto proof? And the fact of the matter is, this is all about nothing, because we have over 30,000 housing units already approved in the pipeline, ready to build. There isn't a need for additional housing, not today. There is a need for affordable housing, and this proposal is the farthest thing from affordable housing that we could possibly do. And you want to know something? Follow the money. Look at the candidates.
I want to give Stacey the last word on this. Stacey, the group Epic of MoCo claims that there are 100,000 housing that could be developed under current zoning laws that would be more affordable than this plan that's going to blow up our neighborhoods.
So that's according to Kim Prasad, who is the organizer for that particular group. And I don't deny for a second anything that Kim Prasad says. She's a very articulate and intelligent woman. She's been following this issue for a long time, and I think she's right.
Thank you, Stacey. Let's go on to my favorite topic, because I've been mad about this for about a year now, which is the gas-powered ban on leaf blowers. Cary, Montgomery County's ban on gas-powered leaf blowers goes into effect next Tuesday. Is this a win for the public or just a burden, not only on small businesses, but on the individual homeowner?
I have to say that this is the craziest proposal that this council is wasting their time on. I mean, $500 fine for starting up a gas-powered leaf blower after July 1st. That's insanity. I don't know. If you want to waste your time, go ahead and waste it. But this isn't about the environment. We talked about electric generation. We've talked about electric cars and all the rest of it. These leaf blowers, and think about something. So now we're telling the landscape companies, you have to have an electric leaf blower. Go ahead and buy a generator, put it on the back of your truck so you can charge the batteries. I mean, I don't know. It's just,
if there wasn't for irony, we would have no joy in life about the stupid decisions that county government can come up with. So, Stacey, Councilmember Albanese, who voted against this the first time, has proposed an exemption that will exempt landscapers from the ban during peak leaf collection seasons, but it does nothing for the homeowner. And these things cost 4 and 5 times what a gas-powered operated leaf blower already costs. What do you think?
Well, that's true. That's accurate. Listen, I spoke with the owner of a major landscaping company earlier this week who told me his company is simply going to ignore the ban. And it's a matter of affordability and convenience. The cost burden of transitioning to those electric blowers is high. And because of its significance, that's a problem. The fact that, it's disruptive to their job because they have to recharge or have multiple units in order to get the job done. It's crazy. So are the gas powered units noisy? Yes. Do they create pollution? I would assume so. But I don't mind the electric model because I've been using one at home for 20 years. But on a commercial level, the county should have conceptualized the impact of this bill on an industry that what I read is estimated to bring in revenue of at least $500 million into the county. So they should be taking care of these landscapers.
Well, they should take care of the homeowner as well. I'm looking for a taxpayer revolt on this when people finally realize how insane these proposals are. You guys laugh, but you all remember when Jimmy Carter enacted the 55 mile per hour speed limit on interstates and how people reacted to that they reacted negatively. I'm hoping that there's a revolt of not only commercial, but of all people, all of the homeowners. Anyway, we've got to go on to our next topic. And there's breaking news. Stay tuned when we come back from this short break for a very important decision out of the Supreme Court. And then Wes Moore's shell game, $400 million in new spending for Friends of Wes, $120 million in cuts for state workers. We'll be right back. And welcome back. And there is breaking news in Montgomery County. The Supreme Court on Friday sided with a group of parents seeking to withdraw their children from public school lessons featuring LGBTQ themed school books, a case that mixed parental rights and religious freedom. The justices said school officials in Montgomery County, Maryland, may not require young children to participate in lessons with books that conflict with the parents' religious beliefs. It was a 6-3 decision. Could have implications for public schools nationwide and give families right to voice religious objections to a broad range of learning materials, expanding on the long-standing practice of allowing opt-outs for reproductive health classes. Guys, this is a major decision, and it affects MCPS, but it affects us all. Stacey, what are your thoughts on this?
This is groundbreaking, and I am so glad that Maryland or Montgomery County is the epicenter of this decision. It is phenomenal, and I give a lot of credit to Dee Rubin with the United Against Racism in Education organization. They have done a lot to support the fight against this measure in Montgomery County about the opt-out, and I was with her and so many other people protesting before the school board, and I saw how impassioned the parents were by this. They needed to have a say, and this is wonderful news.
Thank you, Stacey. Cary, your thoughts on this?
Well, from the beginning, I'm not surprised. From the beginning, I felt there was this false equivalency here. One was addressing the progressive needs or interests of the LGBTQ community, and the other was the First Amendment rights of parents. And you know what? The Constitution is going to win every time, and that's what we've seen. Hopefully, we can move forward now and try to bring these communities together in a different way so that we can accomplish these altruistic goals of our communities.
Cary, that is so well said. I really appreciate that, because we do need to be working together, and parents do need to have a say in what goes on with their tax dollars and in their children's education.
Yeah.
What I've always been surprised at with this particular case is that the MCPS and the school board continues to allow opt-out for other things, and they stuck to their guns with respect to this particular topic. It shows a matter of tone deafness on the part of some of our community leaders here. Anyway, we got to go on, talk about our final topic, which is Governor Wes Moore is proposing $400 million in new spending under the Just Communities Initiative, while also announcing $121 million in cuts to the state workforce. I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at the map where the just communities are, but there are just communities in Chevy Chase, North Bethesda, Rockville. I mean, the just communities isn't just in what people would consider poorer neighborhoods. So, Stacey, critics have called the $400 million initiative reparations by another game and just wealth distribution. Is that fair criticism or political posturing?
Well, I don't think it's a baseless criticism, but it's also a stretch. True reparations would mean direct compensation to descendants of enslaved people. That said, technically, it is true wealth redistribution. That's basically the definition of government spending, isn't it? What I don't understand is why this particular program at this particular time. We've had opportunity zones in the investment areas for a long time under both Democrat and Republican governors. So, the reparations label is political posturing to me, but let's face it, Maryland has some truly serious financial issues. So is this really what taxpayers across the state want to support right now when folks are losing jobs and Maryland is draining jobs? A more equitable investment of that money needs to be spent, if spent at all, supporting businesses at risk of going out of business.
So, Cary, as I open up the segment talking about where these communities are maybe located. Some tracts, like Ocean City, seem to be strange recipients of the Just Communities funding. Is the selection process questionable?
Okay. I'm listening because 2 weeks ago, I think I said it's about the budget, right? And you guys were criticizing me because, oh, where's the integrity of Wes Moore? Because he didn't have a reparations bill. Well, I mean, and I said he's trying to deal with it with affordable housing, trying to deal with redlining, urban highway construction that bisected communities, mass incarceration that we see. He's trying to do what he can. Now, you can say we're still in this $3 billion deficit, so we still have a problem. But you know what? You got to take your hat off to the guy. He's looking for unusual ways to try to address the inequities, the disproportionate inequities of the African American community. And I say more power to him. So go ahead and
Cary,
beat him
the
up.
fundamental question, why is that the role of government?
Why is that the rule of government?
Yeah, why is that the role of government? Explain that.
I think government is deals with morality. It deals with ethics. I mean, in God we trust, I mean, the bottom line is government is more than just, a calculation. It's dealing with humanity. And that's what he's trying to do here. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with if we can afford. I have one problem, and I will be honest with you. Governor Hogan recognized that we had weakness in our economy, and he kept, I think, 5,000 jobs, unfilled, and more filled those jobs when he became. But see, he thought we had an economy. Bottom line is, he's just limited. He's got his budget, and he's got his realities, and he's got to somehow blend them together.
All right, Stacey, again, we're hearing that it's okay to throw money around if it's to your favorite group of people. So is there anything fair and just about the Just Communities program?
Casey, I honestly don't know enough about what would be involved and I'm worried that in the future that we won't have the transparency that we need to know that any money that is being spent fairly or equitably. I think what the question that runs through my mind is why this particular program and why now? And it does seem to me, and Cary, I'm sorry to say this, but I think Governor Moore is trying to burnish his resume right now, and he's not doing what's necessarily best for all Marylanders.
What a perfect segue, Stacey, because I had teed up this question for Cary.
Oh my God!
Can Governor Moore successfully execute this plan without tarnishing his image because of the budget deficits it's going to cause before his expected run for the presidency? I wrote that last night. You're teed up now.
If he can pull this off and he can stay within his budget and find, equitable distribution, that can help a disproportionately impacted community, God bless him. And I think that will make him a superhero across the country.
And if it bankrupts the state, are you still going to be saying that?
You know what? What's going to bankrupt the state is the president of the United States with his $5.5 billion budget when we have a $36 trillion deficit. Let me tell you something. That's what's going to bankrupt us. and all the Doge and all the rest of it.
We got about 30 seconds left. Stacey, any final thoughts?
You know what? I just think that anything in Maryland, it gets, seasoned with Old Bay seasoning, and it just, it's like socialism wrapped up in Old Bay seasoning makes it easier to swallow. And this is what we get. We get it here in Montgomery County. We get it from the state legislature.
All right. Thank you both. Stay tuned.
Trickle down.
When we come back for parting shots. Welcome back. FedEx founder Fred Smith passed away last week. I never knew the man, but I always admired his Horatio Alger life story. He was raised by his mother after his father died while Smith was an adolescent, and he revolutionized a staid and failing public mail system. A recent op-ed draws parallels between FedEx's impact on the Postal Service and what competition could do for public education. What can we learn from the private sector, disruption in other industries when thinking about reforming public services like education or housing? Competition made the Postal Service better. It made UPS better. It made the entire delivery system better. And school choice is the proven solution to underperforming schools and the salvation for those public education. Thank you very much. Stacey Sauter, your parting shot.
So listen, I believe in what you were just saying in terms of the competition and also the innovation that is spawned in a free market society. And he embraced that, and he taught us what can be done when you truly set your heart and mind to something. And now, getting back to the schools, I would like to say, as a representative of the Republican Party, we are recruiting candidates right now for the school board. And right now is your opportunity, particularly in light of this monumental decision by the Supreme Court that said that the parents were right and the school board was wrong.
Thank you, Stacey. Cary Lamari, you're wrapping it up.
Back to housing. Look, if you care about your environment, if you care about impervious runoff and flooding, which we've seen a lot of that in Montgomery County. If you care about heat, urban heat zone effects, you've got to get involved with this new housing proposal before the county council. They are hoping to wrap this up by August before they, as they can get away for their summer vacation. You've got to get your voices heard, get your letters to the council. Otherwise, expect to have very large. Remember, they can assemble 3 lots and build very large buildings along every corridor and not only change the character of your neighborhood, change your quality of life. Okay? And it's going to affect the
Thank you so much, Cary,
for your kids.
Great final thoughts. Thank you both for being here, and I want to thank the audience for tuning in each and every week to Montgomery County's hardest-hitting political talk show. For 21 this week, I'm Casey Aiken.